Shalom, Israel. Today's teaching is going to be called Neverland, Land of Imaginations, Lost Boys and Lost Girls. So this is going to be based on Genesis 6 and 5, which we'll see later, on how our imagination and the wickedness of man, male or female, and the thoughts of our minds and our hearts was only evil. So I'm going to show that in this teaching. Of course, we read now the Sovereign King James Bible with the Paleo-Hebrew Spiritual Dictionary. So let's start. Start with Psalms 78 and 2. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old. So this is how he's going to speak to his people in these dark sayings and parables. Isaiah 28, 9 and 10. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So in order to get the understanding of those dark speeches and those parables, we have to go precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Get a little information from the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Apocrypha. Psalms 119:4 and verse 104. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. So he's not asking us to use the precepts. He's commanding us to use the precepts. And this is the only way to get the understanding. Any other way people tell you about, that's not precept upon precept, is a false way. He hates it, therefore we should hate it. Isaiah 34:16. Seek ye out of the book of the Spirit of God and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate, for my mouth it have commanded, and his spirit it have gathered them. Another commandment, stay in this book. There's many books in this one book. Old Testament, New Testament, Apocrypha. Don't go into another book. You'll get a false way, and you'll go against the commandments. He hates it, therefore we should hate it. 2 Peter 1:20 and 21. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation, for the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost, which is the separated body. So there's no private interpretation. Those with different interpretations are into the false way, which is not precept upon precept, and they're not precepts of the Most High. They are precepts of men, but this is by the Spirit, the separated body. So stay in his commandments, stay inside the will, stay inside his instructions, precept upon precept, Old Testament, New Testament, Apocrypha. Anything else is hateful to God. Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. And further by these, my son, be admonished, be warned. Of making many books there is no end, for thought and much study is a weariness of the flesh. So let's get into it. Genesis 6 and 5. And our God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So first I wanted to see what wickedness is for all of us to see. He saw the wickedness of man. Man is male or female. Let's see what this wickedness is before we go on our journey. Wickedness. And our God saw that the evil, the unrighteousness, our wrong, Our abominations, our ungodliness of male and female was great in the earth, and that every imagination. So let's see. So every imagination. So we already got this wickedness down packed. Evil, unrighteousness, ungodly, our wrong, and abomination. These are all hateful to Jehovah. And he also says, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now let's deal with this imagination, because the title is Neverland, land of imagination. And we're using land as the people. So the people of imagination. Let's see what this imagination is. So every imagination, every understanding, every conception of the thoughts. Let's get to the thoughts. Let's get to the T's. Let's get to the thoughts. It's consideration, his or her consideration, intent, judgment, and opinions of his heart. Let's check out this heart. Let's check out this heart. The consideration, intent of his or her will, life, desire, reasoning, mind, faith, and belief was only evil continually. So only, we know that's the only thoughts that they're having. And evil, let's get a full understanding of what the evil is. Evil, the thoughts of his heart, his mind, his desire was only the works of flesh, sin, the thoughts of evil, iniquity, the acts of evil, wickedness, transgression, forgetfulness, and unrighteousness continually. So that's all the time. Let's see this in action. Hopefully you wrote those down. That's all I have for here. So let's roll. I'm going to start off Exodus 19, 1 and 2. Leave this up. In the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mount. So here we see Jehovah's mercy and goodness, Israel making a vow to obey Jehovah's voice. So let's see. He didn't make the vow yet. Let's see here. Exodus 19, 3 and 4. And Moses went up unto our God, and the Spirit of God called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. So Jehovah reminded us how he protected us with his power, how he destroyed the citizens of bondage, how he separated us from them and sanctified us. Exodus 19, 5 and 6. Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So providing we obey his declaration, he is promising us to be citizen in his kingdom. Deuteronomy 6, 17 and 18. Ye shall diligently keep the commandments of the Spirit of God your guide, and his testimonies and his statutes, which he hath commanded thee. And thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of the Spirit of God, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest go in and possess the good land which the Spirit of God sware unto thy fathers. So we need to faithfully and carefully fulfill and uphold Jehovah's instructions. Do what Jehovah says, and he will fulfill his promises. Deuteronomy 6:24 and 25. And the Spirit of God commanded us to do all these statutes, to desire the Spirit of God our guide, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Spirit of God our guide, as he have commanded us. So Jehovah has commanded us to keep these instructions if we desire him and his salvation. So he's not forcing anybody. He's giving an option. He's giving a gift. If you want that gift, you have to follow the instructions. If you don't follow the instructions. Psalms 12 and 12, chapter 12, verse 6a. The words of the Spirit of God are pure words. So do these and see the change in your spiritual life. No doubt he will keep his side of the bargain. The words of the Spirit of God are pure words. Let's see what pure means. Holy, clean, undefiled, refined, sincere, honest. Psalms 19, 7 and 8. The law of the Spirit of God is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Spirit of God is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Spirit of God are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Spirit of God is pure, enlightening the eyes, the understanding. So those obedient to his instructions will be converted. Those who are obedient will gain knowledge. Their life will be converted. Your mind and understanding will be converted if you follow Jehovah's instructions. Because his word is pure, right? It's holy, clean, undefiled, refined, sincere, honest. If we follow this, it's for our righteousness. Because as we've seen, he took us out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, and cleaned us up with his word, which is pure. Psalms 19, 9 and 10. The fear of the Spirit of God is clean, enduring forever. The doctrines and teachings of the Spirit of God are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. If you come to serve Jehovah, we need to put 1,000% in and serve with all our hearts. As we see here, the desire of the Spirit of God is clean, enduring forever. There is no end. It's more desired than gold. Don't go chasing no money, no temporal things, no men, no women, no other doctrines. Because his words are pure. Stay within the guidelines that he set, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. You have to see it in the scriptures, in the books, within the one book, not any outside source. It's for our righteousness and for our good. Psalms 19:11. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned. and in keeping of them there is great reward. So his instructions have many functions in our spiritual development. Warning us is one, and there is a reward if we endure to the end. He ready let us know the reward. That's salvation. His word is pure, holy. So if we're doing his word, then we'll be pure, we'll be holy, because we're following it for our righteousness and not for our good. Nothing he's going to tell us is going to be bad. He gave us instructions that we should do, that we should live. And he gave us warnings of what we should not do, or else we die. John 3:36a. He that believeth on the servant hath everlasting life. So if you believe on the word, which is pure, which is holy, clean, undefiled, honest, and sincere, then you have everlasting life. You can count on it. Everlasting life is those that endure, is to those that endure to the end. That is the reward. John 6:35. And salvation said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. So Jehovah said he is the knowledge of truth and the way to salvation, the way to everlasting life. This is for those that come to trust in his guidance and his instructions. To those who desire what he desires, shall never hope or have a longing for anything else contrary to Jehovah Christ or the word. His word is pure, sincere, is honest, straightforward. He's telling us exactly what to do and what we should not do. So if we go another way, then we know it's something within our wickedness and our imagination of the thoughts of our minds that will lead us astray from the pure, the holy, clean, sincere, honest word of Jehovah. It has to be something in us. Well, we'll soon find out what that is. John 6:47-48. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me hath everlasting life. I am that bread of life. Just in case we didn't hear it the first time, because we have things in our ears. Let's see this bread. He's that bread of life. He's that knowledge, that doctrine, that word, which is pure, undefiled, sincere, and honest, for our righteousness, for our good. We should follow him. He took us out of bondage, cleaned us up with that word, with that knowledge, with that doctrine, for our good. So we could be holy, undefiled, sincere, and honest. So he said that knowledge, that doctrine. Wisdom of Solomon 18:15. Thy almighty word, that pure word, thy almighty word leaped down from heaven out of thy royal throne as a fierce man of war into the midst of the land of destruction. The word, Jehovah Christ, came from heaven from the Father and appeared to our forefathers. That's the word he's talking about. That's the bread. Pure, holy, undefiled, sincere, honest. That's what Jehovah is. We'll soon find out what we are. Are we following in that image, or are we going our own way according to the thoughts and the wickedness and imaginations of our own heart? Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word be that go forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing where I sent it. So what Jehovah says, it will come to pass, and his promises are not empty. So if he says, if you follow, you'll get everlasting life, you can bet your soul on it. Because did we not see what he said to those that Were in bondage? Did we not? Do we not see that around us today? Did our ancestors not see that? How they died in ignorance? Did we not see it before? Because he said we seen it. We seen up there. He said you seen what he have done to the Egyptians and how he bears on eagles. So we seen it, and we see it today. So if you see something with your own eyes and you see the result of disobedience and unfaithfulness and evil, why you think in your own evil imagination and the thoughts of your own heart that if you do it, it's not going to happen to you? That's wickedness. Second address 721. For our God has given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. So Jehovah gave us instructions we can understand. We just have to follow his guidance. We should do this to avoid punishment. This is clear and this is straight. Exodus 19:7-8. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all these words which the Spirit of God commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Spirit of God has spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Spirit of God. So the mediator Moses, the word of truth, delivered the word from Jehovah to the people, us. And we made a vow and a promise to Jehovah there. Did we not? Because after we seen what he did, it's undeniable. We're going to follow the Spirit of God, right? Numbers 30:2. If a man, male or female, vow a vow unto the Spirit of God or swear oath to bind his soul, let me start all over with that. Numbers 30:2. If a man, male or female, vow a vow unto the Spirit of God or swear an oath to bind his soul, not his flesh, to bind his soul with the bond. Full thought. He shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. You need to be sincere and honest as well. You need to be pure. Your words can't come back void, right? Because if you made a promise to him or vow, you should keep it like he keeps it. You in his image, we serve him, we his servants. We should be doing the same thing as the master's doing. So this is a commandment from Jehovah. So we made a vow to Jehovah as we just seen. Let's just touch on a little bit because it's too much to go into. So let's just touch on this. These two little points I'm going to bring out. 26. Gotta refresh. 1 second. Gotta refresh. Gotta refresh. All right. All right. Exodus 20:1-2. And our God spake all these words, saying, I am the Spirit of God, thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage, out of the house of bondage. So we seen that. We know this. Correct? We seen this. So this is Jehovah who took us out of the house of bondage to himself and gave us instructions to follow for our good. So he already said, don't. Exodus 20:3. Thou shalt have no other gods, lowercase g, before me. Let's see what those things, let's see what that is, the lowercase g. Let's see what the lowercase g, what that means. Gotta get to it. Lowercase g, that's an idol. So we know our God's not an idol. So we should have no idols, no other gods before Jehovah. Let's see what an idol is. Let's get to I. Oh, sorry about that. Let's get to idol. Idols. False gods, false guides, graven images, molten images, abominations, and vanities. Abominations, most hated, vanities, nothingness, vain. So don't have any gods before him because he already gave us commandments, right? We should have no other gods, idols, false gods, graven images, molten images, abominations, vanities in the presence of Jehovah. That's it clear, straight. Exodus 20:14, thou shalt not commit adultery. I didn't want to touch too much on that, but it's in here. Once we do that, that's what this is considered. Let's see what adultery is. Breach of marriage, unfaithfulness, spiritual corruption, idolatry, transgression and sin, fornication, idolatry, that's having them gods before him, and covenant breakers, betraying. So that's adultery, breaking those covenants that we just made, and oaths and promises, and serving other gods. Let's continue. Exodus 23:13, and all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect. Make no mention of the name of the way of other gods, lowercase g, so those are idols, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. So Jehovah's not trying to hear none of that nonsense. No other, nothing that he's opposite of what he said, he's trying to hear. No excuses, none of that. It says, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. He don't want to hear nothing. Exodus 23:24. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, their idols, nor serve them, nor do after their works. But thou shalt utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images. So wherever you at, whoever you around, you better not be following nothing that they doing, because he already gave you straight and pure commandments, undefiled, holy, sincere, and honest for your good. And all that other stuff that's going around you, he don't want to hear it. So you better follow what he's saying if you come to serve Jehovah. If not, you do what you do. So we better not do these things or even think these things. Because even thinking it, that's the sin. Iniquity is performing it. Exodus 32:1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, lowercase g, those are idols, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage, we wot not what is become of him. So you see, we made the vow to Jehovah. We seen what he did. We seen what he did to people who were doing these things here. And see how quickly we forget. Because now we telling Aaron to make us these idols that we were just instructed not to do. Ain't that crazy? Because we just seen him destroy other people for that same very thing. And now we saying to do that same very thing. So what do we think is going to happen to us? So this is where in Genesis 6:5 it says, and God saw the wickedness of man, male and female, was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart, of his mind, was only evil continually. That's an evil thought. Before they even do it, that's just evil that conjured up in their mind that they were going to do something like this. after seeing other people die for it. That's evil. That's wickedness. That's ungodly, unrighteous. Because he gave you what? He gave us the pure commandments, pure, straight commandments on what we should do for our good and that we should live. So now here, our imagination is so evil, now we're doing things that's going to kill us. Where was they at when they was thinking this? That mental, that's Neverland, the land of imagination, the people's imagination. What do they think is going to happen once they do this? That is going to go well for them? That's that evil imagination that we have. We got to get out of that mindset. Numbers 25, 1 and 2. And Israel abode in Shittim, and people began to commit whoredom with the daughters, with the offspring of Moab. And they called the people into the established covenants of their gods, lowercase g, idols, again. And the people did eat, they did learn, and bow down to their gods, their idols, their vanities, their abominations, their unfaithfulness. We just seen, he just said, don't do this. And don't bow down. And we did exactly the opposite. Genesis 6 and 5 says, and God saw the wickedness of man, male or female, was great in the earth, and that every imagination, every understanding, let me get this definition. Every understanding, every conception of their thoughts, their consideration, intent, and judgment of his mind was only evil continually. Works of the flesh, sin, iniquity, wickedness, transgressions, and unrighteousness continually. They want to do what's good to the flesh after the Spirit gave them what was pure for them to be, for their spiritual growth. They still lusting, we still lusting after the things of the flesh continually. That means all the time. After getting the pure, undefiled doctrine and the bread of life, we want to die. For some reason, we conjure up in our mind that what we're doing, we're going to somehow get eternal life or be saved based on another man dying thousands of years ago. That's an evil imagination of the thoughts of his heart. That man don't know you and he's already dead. How can someone dead save you from dying? He couldn't save himself. Genesis 6 and 5. And God saw the wickedness of man, male or female, was great in the earth. It's great in these people, in our people. And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. That's evil to think somebody else going to die for the sins that you're doing. That is evil. So if you sin 10 times, what, he going to resurrect 10 times and you're going to kill him 10? That is evil. That is every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil continually. But we could go to scriptures and say, every man dies for himself, but we're dealing with the imagination of our people and us. This is evil. This is not even scripture, but that makes it more evil. He gave us pure doctrine, undefiled, clean, sincere, honest. So why are we dishonest and dirty and unsincere? Because we want to do what we want to do, as we conjure up in our own mind. We want to do that works of the flesh. We want to feel good in the flesh momentarily, and then when we die, we still want to go do what we want to do here, up there in the kingdom. Well, we know it's not up there, it's come down, but we want to do what we want to do in the kingdom. That's an evil imagination. You're telling yourself a lie. So we broke the covenant and established covenants with the people of the land and served their idols after receiving the straight commandments. So it's clear we want to die. We do not want everlasting life. We don't want to have nothing to do with the kingdom. We want to do what we want to do and live forever doing it. Let me get off of that. Numbers 25 and 3. And Israel joined himself. Let me say that again. In Israel, Jehovah's servants joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Spirit of God was kindled against Jehovah's servants. So there's the idol, and here's the anger of Jehovah against us. It's a just anger. Because that Baal Peor, that can't do nothing for us or save us from the wrath of Jehovah. We seen already what he did to the people serving that. Did Baal save them from the wrath of Jehovah? No. It was vain. It was an abomination. Let's see what it really was. In addition, Wisdom of Solomon 14:12. For the devising of idol was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. So first, before we invent them physically, how do we invent them? In our mind. It's in our imagination. It's in the thoughts of our hearts, in our mind. That's where it comes from, and then we do it. Then we act it out. So I'm gonna take this piece to show the wickedness that was and is great among our people, to show we are covenant breakers, to show that we repay good with evil, seeing we were sick and gave us medicine and stood by us to make us healthy, to show how he took us bums from the street and washed us off, gave us some clothing, a covering, some raiment, gave us some money in our pockets, gave us knowledge from heaven, gave us a couple diamonds in our ears. Then once we got all that on that was given to us, the king called us to righteousness and unto himself. What did we do? We walked right by him as if he did not exist. We shut off our ears and our eyes to his voice and understanding. This behavior is first conjured up in the mind, where Jehovah sees that it was and is evil continually. How could we do something like that? Once we sin with the thought, then we commit the act called iniquity, breaking the covenant and instructions of Jehovah. That's how it goes. We know that's how it goes. Why? Because we seen it. You know, this is really Neverland, the land of imaginations. You know, when we in the world and then we get saved and we get a little knowledge, and then we see we were in a loop for years and years, going through a circle, and we like, why this happened? Why this happened? And then he takes us out of it. And then when the walk gets too crazy for us and uncomfortable, and we don't take accountability and responsibility of what we doing and what we did, then we want to run back into that circle of vanities and abominations. Why? Genesis 6 and 5. And God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Some people just going to serve him by name, want to be called the name, but don't want to do and put no work in. Don't want to really die for the present their body as a living sacrifice. They don't really want to die. They say it, but you got to kill this flesh. You got to. Since when is dying comfortable? You got to get rid of all these things that you felt good in with the flesh and give it over and start doing everything that's good with the spirit for our good, that we may have eternal life. We got to follow the bread of life, so we won't be hungry or thirsty anymore. We have to get that pure doctrine. Stop following these idols. Christmas, New Year's, this everything these people say who supposedly we supposed to hate us, son. We keep following everything that they doing. That's that's an evil imagination thoughts of your heart. You hate them, but every holiday they put out there, you follow it. That's stupidity. That is the imagination, the thoughts of our hearts. It's evil. That is evil. We rather follow these people who we say we hate, which we shouldn't hate, because the only reason why we got in the predicament we is because we disobeyed the pure doctrine of Jehovah. He made sure that we got where we at, because it's straight commandments he gave us and we didn't follow it, so we died spiritually, some physically and spiritually. But that's the commandments. That's what he said. It won't come back void. So if you follow the commandments, for your good. If you don't, it's going to be for your hurt. You're going to die. I mean, it's not hard. But we want to blame it on people. I'm blaming that, I'm blaming that. Why are we never taking accountability and responsibility for our own actions? Because we not following. Our people keep saying they know that we know that God dwell here, God dwell there, all right, if God dwelling in you, then why you not doing nothing God's saying to do? And then you say you know the commandments, but when you disobey, why don't you know the results of your disobedience and the recompense for your evil actions and deeds? But you still blaming the man, another man, but not yourself. That's evil. That's the evil thoughts of our hearts. Exodus 19:8. Remember this? And all the people answered together and said, all that the Spirit of God has spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people into the Spirit of God. So we lied. So this is what we agreed to, was it not? And we all did say that we did, or we all did say that, did we not? We did say that. Lord, you know I love you. I'll die for you. You know I'm going to do what you, come on, Lord. You know, I'll ride with you till the wheels fall off. We not even in the car yet, and we already, we not going. Not even in the car. Not even on the King's Highway. We didn't even gas up to get ready to go. Already falling out the way. Crazy. It's evil. That's that Neverland, imaginations of your heart. In your mind, you doing all this, but in reality, you ain't doing nothing. Second address 7:22-23. Nevertheless, we made that vow, but nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, imagined vain things. There you go. Now we're going to be dealing with this imagination real hard. 22. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things. Vain. Let's see what vain means. Because we do a lot of vain things that don't get us nowhere, and then we like to call that good, and it ain't nothing. Vain, empty, worthless, wasted, void, lie, liar, falsehood. So we imagine vain things. We gonna go serve this idol Baal, Peor. We gonna do this, Santa, Thanksgiving, Easter, Valentine, Mondays, Happy Tuesday, whatever they have. We just gonna do it. And deceive themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways. So there's that imagination. We deceive ourselves by ourselves from the imaginations within our own minds and hearts. So when we do not follow the instructions, we acting like Jehovah does not exist, paying him no mind. In addition, we go on a different path that leads to destruction. You could pay him no mind all you want, but he's paying you mind. And when you don't do what he says to do, you're going to get that punishment. So you should pay him some mind. But that's up to you. Second address 7:24. But his laws have they despised. They hate it. We hate it. And denied his covenants. Forethought. And his statutes they have not been faithful and have not performed his work. So we're not doing nothing. We're doing what we want to do. Whatever's in our mind, that's what we do, because it's evil. Because it's always going to be opposite of Jehovah. Because Jehovah's a spirit. We are flesh. So we thinking flesh all the time. So we can't be on the same page. He say yes, we say no. He say left, we say right. He say from, we say back. It's always gonna be that war if we don't kill his flesh off. Let's read that one more time, because this word despise is like popping out. That when you say despise, it sounds like, oh my, what? Like you have a deep grudge against, like he did something wrong. Let's go here. Despise, hated, loathe, abhorred. Let's read this one more time. But second address 7:24. But his law they have despised and denied his covenant. So his law, his word, we despised it. But it said it was pure, sincere, honest, holy. So that means we hate the separation from the flesh. We hate being godly. We hate being sincere, and we hate being honest. So we liars. And his statutes have they not been faithful. So we haven't been sincere and honest in it, and have not performed his work. So we didn't do nothing he said to do. He said, do this, do that for your good. We didn't do none of it. So we did not listen to the truth. We instead picked the idols to make ourselves graven and molten images. And worship means respect and bow down to false gods, idols of the people around us, as it is this day. Let's take a deeper look into an imagination void of understanding and instructions from our Creator. This is crazy. This is evil thoughts of our heart, wickedness. This is great in the earth. Acts 7:25, who by the mouth of thy servant, my beloved, has said, why did the heathen rage and the people imagine vain things? I could tell you why. I mean, Genesis 6:5. Because God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So if we imagine in vain things, it's because we evil. It came from our own mind and our own heart. Our desires was not the desires of Yahweh, of Jehovah. We want to do what we want to do. And then we want to say that we blessed. Blessed by who? He gave the knowledge, but we don't follow it. So how can we be blessed and still not follow the things that makes you? That's an evil thought. That's an evil imagination. That's wickedness. And that's foolishness. And it's vain. The people imagine vain things. That don't even make no sense. But they're going to go on it for their whole life. So that's a question we need to answer. The answer I had for myself was that I was a fool who did not want to follow instructions on anything that made me uncomfortable and take accountable for my own wicked actions. You answer that question for yourself. Matthew 9:4. And salvation, knowing their thoughts, said, wherefore think ye evil in your hearts? We need to stay in the wisdom of Jehovah only. When we have a thought that's going to take us off the course, consider that evil. If you let somebody's words take you off the course and go the opposite of the words of Jehovah, that's evil. Job 21:27. Remember, I know your thoughts and the devices which ye wrongfully imagine against me. There's nothing here from Jehovah. If we have any devices and thoughts against Jehovah, then we hate instructions and we are not upright but crooked. Psalms 56:5. Every day they wrest my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. We wrestling with the word, with the instructions, with the pure, holy, sincere, honest doctrine. Because we don't want to do it. We are wrestling righteousness versus unrighteousness. Our thoughts being on the unrighteous side if we stray from the commandments. It's simple. We can believe we're going wherever we want to think we're going to be going. But if we not following law, statutes, commandments to the Most High, he already said where he was going. So his word's not coming back void. But 100,000% ours will be void. Because we have no power over the spirit, do we? Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 3. For froward thoughts separate from God, and his power, when it is tried, reprove the unwise. So when we think vain things against Jehovah, against his instructions, we separate ourselves from him. When we do not hearken to the instructions, we separate ourselves from him. His word makes us wise. If it's not in us, and we start thinking contrary to the word, then we are unwise. Then we going down a wrong path, a different path, where he's not going to protect us from. Remember, he bears on eagle's wings, and we seen this. He could have killed us just like everybody else. Consider Psalms 101, 3 and 4. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes, before my understanding. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Let's stop playing games. He showed us his power and told us what to do and drew near us. So what's happening, Israel? Is death that sweet and rewarding? Is the temporal pleasures worth eternal damnation? Genesis 6 and 5. And God saw the wickedness of man, male and female, was great in the earth, and that every imagination and thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So if death is sweet and rewarding and temporal pleasures worth eternal damnation, then we need to get your thoughts straight. Because that's evil. And if you continually think that, you'll die. You'll die. That second death is for you. Proverbs 2:14. Who rejoice to do evil and delight in the frowardness of the wicked. Not only do we think it and do it, but we like doing it. We love doing it. We love doing it. You tell somebody, oh, you shouldn't be eating that. Oh, I love it. I love it. Then they taking pills Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But they love it. They still ain't gonna stop. It's evil imagination. You think you're gonna keep on doing something and eating something that's unclean and unrighteous, and you're gonna be well? People live in Neverland, land of imaginations. Proverbs 6:14. Frowardness is in his heart, on his mind, his desire. He devises mischief continually. He soweth discord. So we need to get out of this behavior and these thoughts. This should not be among the Jews, the Hebrews, or Israel. We need to follow the king's orders at once and fall in line. Or you're just going to fall out of line. Either way, you're going to fall somewhere. Isaiah 57:17. For the iniquity of his covetousness was I wroth and smote him. I hid me and was wroth, and he went on frowardly in the way of his heart. We need to stop making Jehovah angry before he kills us. We need to get out of these thoughts, get out of these buildings, get out of these false doctrines, get out of this mindset of that he needs us and we this and we that and he that, blah, blah, blue. Or trying to just forget about God altogether and use psychology, and then you got the animals, the apes, you came from apes, you're this and you're that. Everything to avoid following the Lord, statutes, and commandments of Jehovah. It's going to get you killed. Because his word is not going to come back void. All that other stuff you thinking about in your mind and you conjuring and people got you thinking, that's void. Because all those can be disputed immediately, easily. Because it's foolishness. But we can show you exactly in these scriptures where our disobedience got us here where we at right now to this day in the land of our captivity. We can show you that. Show you all the curses and the blessings. We can show you that. We can show you all of it in action right now. We can show you that. But no, I can't show you a monkey turn into a human because it never happened. Can't show you dinosaurs or anything else because it never happened. It's vain. Where that came from? Where those doctrines came from? Those impure, void, and vain doctrines and abominations. Genesis 6:5. And God saw that the wickedness of man, male and female, was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart, his mind, his desires, was only evil continually. So they deny the creator and then worship the creature. They leave off from the pure and undefiled and the sincere and honest doctrine, the bread of life, and turn to death. Isaiah 59:7. Their feet run to evil, their desires run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood, innocent lifestyles. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, acts of sin, wasting and destruction are in their paths. So we see these things in the works thereof in cases like Cain and Abel. We over here frolicking in the wilderness, doing what we desire. We continue in this, we will die that second death. I mean, there's nothing else to say. How you read the scriptures where there's no private interpretation and you're doing everything opposite the scriptures and believe you're still going into the kingdom, which is said in the scriptures. How you got homosexuals in the church building, which the church, you are the temple of God, but what they call church buildings, and everyone's there like it's okay. See what he did to Sodom and Gomorrah, but I guess they only read the back of the book now. Probably 10 or 15 scriptures, if they even read that. You have you try to get some scriptures in with them, you try to show them something, and they say, why you keep going to scriptures? They just don't, they just want to have a conversation because you know what? They want to do what they want to do and then act like they're going somewhere to the kingdom. They don't want to hear the scriptures because they're not going to follow none of it. They just want to carry it and say, call us this. Just like in Isaiah 4:1. We're gonna have our own doctrine, our own covering, our own. We got that. We just want to be called by your name. We want to get into that kingdom, and we just want to do what we want to do. We want to go in your house and act a fool. Genesis 6:5. And God saw the wickedness of the male and female was great in the earth, and that every, not some, that every imagination and thoughts of his heart was only. That's the only evil continually. This is all evil that we see here. People don't warn them. People don't do this. People don't do that. They don't want to hear scriptures. Why are you jumping around? Why are you doing that? Why people want to follow man? They don't want to follow God. Psalms 10:4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. You think these people worry about God? They worry about temporal things. They want peace on earth. They want this man to be resurrected and die again and again and again and again for the wickedness that they doing. They don't want to have nothing to do with the law, statutes, and commandments. They are good. Jesus died for them. So they basically just committing murder now. They can keep waking them up and killing them. But this is the thoughts. God is not in all his thoughts. They worry about how things look on the outside to other people. They're not worrying about how they look to God. Because if they did, they wouldn't be having these vain imaginations and evil thoughts continually. Proverbs 15:26a. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Spirit of God. most hated. Why? Because God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil. Continually. That's an abomination. That's wickedness. Psalms 119, 113. I hate vain thoughts, but thy Lord do I love. We got to give up these thoughts. Let's do what is instructed from Jehovah. What you think is going to happen to you? You going to force your way into the kingdom? How are you going to do it? Don't even think about it, because then that's going to make me bring back Genesis 6 and 5. That's vain, because it's not happening. Jeremiah 4:14. O Jerusalem, wash thy heart from wickedness, that thou mayest be saved. How long shall thy vain thoughts lodge within thee? So now again, he's reaching out again for the 100 millionth time. Let's see what wash. You need to wash. Let's see what wash is. Because he's talking about soap and a rag. Let's see what he's talking about. Wash, cleanse, renew, cleanse, purity, baptize, which is condemn, sanctify. Thy heart, those thoughts. Get rid of those thoughts of foolishness and vain thoughts. How long you going to do that? He's a spirit. He's forever. How long are you going to do that while you in this flesh? Your whole life? His word is not going to change. It endures forever, but you won't. Again, Jehovah's still guiding us and instructing us, still having mercy on us, still long-suffering towards us. We know we're going to get out of this Neverland. Because what we thinking, which is evil in our hearts and this wickedness, will never come to pass. Never. It's vain. It's not real. It can't save us. Jesus is not coming back alive to die for anyone. Study to show thyself approved. We all die for our own sins, and we all stand before on that judgment day to take accountability for what we have done. No pastor will be there with you, or no one will be there, just you. So we will drink out the cup. Which one is up to you? Stop this foolishness. Get out of this land of imagination. That's when you go when you were a kid. You go, yeah. We're in reality now. This is the reality of the situation. This is the condition of the battle. Stop with the foolishness. You will surely die if you don't follow the commandments of the Most High. I mean, he says surely. That it's a guarantee. Wisdom of Solomon 2:1. Love righteousness, ye that be judges of the earth. Think of the Creator with a good heart. And in simplicity of heart, seek him out. Seek him. You gotta have a good mind, a good desire. Righteous. Do it for the right reasons. What's our righteousness? If we follow the word, that pure, sincere, honest doctrine. 1 Samuel 12:21. And turn ye not aside. For then should ye go after vain things which cannot profit nor deliver, for they are vain. Can we tell what idol delivered any of our leaders from death, or from the word of Jehovah, from what he says is going to come to pass? Can we? It says it cannot profit nor deliver. Has it profited? Has it ever delivered? Have they ever profited? Have they ever delivered us out of anything? No. You know why? Because they are vain. I'm talking about even people you make idols. They don't run nothing. They don't do nothing. For you to think a person was going to save you out of the spiritual bondage you at, that's wickedness. It's an evil imagination. Only that pure word is going to convert the soul, as we seen. Jeremiah 31, 31, 32. Remember, the days come, saith the Spirit of God, that I will make a new covenant. So now, with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. I was going to say something. Let me say it this one. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of the house of bondage, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Spirit of God. See all that adultery we did from there to there? He took us by the hand, married us, right? Cleaned us up. Gave us a pure, undefiled doctrine, bread to eat, clothed us with raiment, put us on high, showed us the good things, and said, be righteous, my wife. And then we went to Baal Peor and went to turned aside and went back to the garbage. Like a dog in his vomit. Broke the covenant. Adultery, right? Covenant breaker. Because it says which, let me see how he said it. Which my covenant they break. So he didn't break it. Jeremiah 31, 33. Let's see what this familiar covenant is. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Spirit of God, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, in their minds, in their desires, and will be their guide, and they shall be my people. So these will be put in our heart and our thoughts. No more evil continually, no more vain thoughts against instructions. We're going to know it. Now we just better do it. And to end off, our final scripture, 2 Esdras 14:34. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death ye shall obtain mercy. So the choice is ours, as it has always been. Make the right one and live, or make the wrong one and die. So I hope everyone got some understanding from this. You need to follow these straight commandments. Don't have no evil imagination in your heart. He says one thing, that's what it is. Don't turn aside left or to the right, because that's going to be evil and it's going to be death for you. So until next time, shalom.